Right now, somewhere in your fridge or your cupboard, there's probably alcohol sitting there. Wine, beer, something. You didn't invent the idea of drinking it, you inherited it. Without even thinking about it, you're part of a habit that predates almost everything else humans do. Here's the reframe: drinking alcohol isn't some modern invention we cooked up for parties. It's one of the oldest behaviors tied to human survival. It's older than writing, older than farming. Some scientists think it might even be older than humans themselves. So the question is, when did this actually start, and how did a species that didn't even have written language figure out how to turn fruit and grain into something that gets you buzzed? To answer that, we have to go back, way back. Before humans. Before apes even looked like apes. Let's start at the beginning. Around 10 million years ago, deep in the forests of Africa, our primate ancestors were eating fruit off the ground. Not fresh fruit, fallen fruit. Overripe, rotting, fermenting fruit. And naturally, that fruit contained trace amounts of ethanol, the same chemical compound found in your beer. Here's where it gets strange. A biologist named Matthew Kerrigan studied the genes of primates and found something wild. Around that exact point in time, our ancestors evolved a mutation that made an enzyme called ADH4 40 times more efficient at breaking down alcohol. 40 times. That's not an accident. That's evolution rewarding a behavior. The primates who could handle fermented fruit without getting sick got more calories, more energy, and a survival edge over the ones who couldn't. Scientists call this the drunken monkey hypothesis. The idea that our attraction to alcohol isn't a modern flaw. It's an ancient survival tool. Think about that. Millions of years before humans built the first house, our bodies were already being shaped by fermented fruit lying on a forest floor. But that's just biology. That's not humans intentionally making alcohol yet. For that, we need to fast forward. Way forward. All the way to around 13,000 years ago. In a cave in modern-day Israel called Rakefet Cave. Archaeologists digging there found stone mortars, carved out rock basins, with residue inside them. When researchers analyzed that residue, they found starch granules that had been fermented. Not spoiled. Fermented. On purpose. That's beer. Brewed in a cave. 13,000 years ago. And here's the part that really throws people off. This predates farming. For decades, the accepted story was that humans invented agriculture first, and alcohol came later, almost as a byproduct of growing grain. But Rakefet Cave flipped that idea on its head. Some archaeologists now argue the opposite might be true, that the desire to keep brewing alcohol may have been one of the reasons humans started farming grain in the first place. Not just for bread, for beer. Let that sink in for a second. One of the biggest turning points in human history, the shift from hunting and gathering to farming, the thing that eventually led to cities, governments, and civilization as we know it, might have been partially driven by people wanting a reliable beer supply. Yeah, I'd farm for that too. Here's what makes this so important. Farming didn't just feed people, it fermented them. And that fermentation habit didn't fade out. It multiplied. Jump ahead again, this time to around 7000 BC, to a site called Jiahu in ancient China. Researchers led by biomolecular archaeologist Patrick McGovern analyzed pottery jars found there and discovered chemical traces of a fermented drink made from rice, honey, and fruit. It's one of the earliest chemically confirmed alcoholic beverages in the world. But the story doesn't stop with casual drinking. In ancient Mesopotamia, beer wasn't just a drink, it was practically currency. Workers building some of the earliest cities and monuments were literally paid in beer rations. Clay tablets from around 3000 BC list beer as part of wages, right alongside grain and bread. Beer wasn't a treat back then. It was survival, payment, and social glue, all in one cup. And here's the thing, alcohol wasn't just about getting a buzz. In a lot of ancient societies, fermented drinks were actually safer to consume than water. Fermentation killed off certain bacteria and pathogens that could make people sick. In some regions, drinking a mild alcoholic beverage was a smarter, safer choice than drinking straight from a river or well. So in a strange way, alcohol may have helped keep entire early civilizations alive. But there's more to this than just biology and survival. Alcohol became deeply woven into ancient social life. In ancient Egypt, beer was offered to the gods. In ancient Greece, wine was central to religious rituals and social gatherings called symposiums, where drinking and conversation went hand in hand. Alcohol wasn't separate from culture, it helped build culture. Here's the important pivot. Every single time humans figured out how to intentionally make alcohol, whether it was fermenting fruit, brewing rice wine, or perfecting beer recipes, it wasn't just about getting drunk. It was about bonding, community, ritual, trust. Sharing a drink became one of the oldest ways humans built relationships with each other. Long before handshakes, before contracts, before written agreements, pouring someone a drink was a way of saying, "I trust you enough to share this with you." Which, if you think about it, hasn't really changed. You still see it today. Business deals happen over drinks. First dates happen over drinks. Reunions, celebrations, even funerals. Alcohol shows up almost everywhere humans gather. So here's the full picture. It starts with fruit rotting on a forest floor millions of years ago, and a genetic mutation that let our ancestors handle it. It moves to a cave in Israel 13,000 years ago, where humans brewed the earliest known beer before they even figured out farming. It expands into ancient China, with rice wine in clay jars. It becomes currency in Mesopotamia, payment for workers building the first cities. And it becomes ritual, offered to gods in Egypt, poured at gatherings in Greece. And now, that same instinct is still sitting in your fridge tonight. When you crack open a drink after a long day, or pour a glass of wine at dinner, you're not doing something new. You're repeating a behavior that's older than civilization itself, a habit your ancestors were biologically wired for millions of years before the first city was ever built. Maybe that's the real story here. Humans didn't just stumble into drinking. We evolved for it, built entire economies around it, and used it to bond with each other for thousands of years. Somewhere between survival and celebration, alcohol became part of what it means to be human. If stories like this scratch that itch, the why are humans like this kind of curiosity, there's more waiting for you to dig into.